This is Meghan Markle's sickest stunt yet. This weekend, she decided to invoke the memory of dead Princess Diana in a deliberate attempt to terrorize her long-suffering husband, Prince Harry.
Again, I have to be careful what I say, but...
Okay, this is wild.
Prince Harry just absolutely exploded. And trust me, not even palace walls are thick enough to contain this one. Seriously, what happened is gross, grim, and honestly totally deranged. Witnesses are saying the moment he saw Meghan's video, filmed just steps from that tunnel where his mother died, something inside him snapped. And yet this,
She thinks that's a win, Brittany? No, we see you, Meghan. We see you, and now the world sees you.
No comms, not giving some carefully crafted statement. No perfect PR silence. Nope, this was pure raw rage.
This is her in the car videoing herself with her legs up as she went past the tunnel in which Diana Spencer was so tragically killed in Paris.
You have to understand, for Harry, that tunnel isn't just a symbol. It's the darkest, most chattering night of his entire life. Honestly, who does something like this? Who behaves like that? But wait until you hear this. There she was, just lounging in the back of a luxury car, feet propped up, rolling right past the exact spot where Diana took her last breath.
He was the villain.
How was she dangerous?
Because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image.
And get this, it was all posted to social media, complete with a smile and a filter. It screams, Meghan is using everything for publicity. Just another appallingly
Tone-deaf actions.
For millions, it was tone deaf. For Harry, it was unforgivable.
But I have to just say, anyone who has doubted me over the past decade about this evil woman now needs to eat some humble pie, because this video designed to mentally torture her husband.
He's been silent. Harry has been silent through years of criticism, but insiders are saying this time was totally different. This time he confronted her, and he absolutely did not hold back. According to a source super close to the couple, Harry called the move cruel, attention-seeking, and a betrayal of everything Diana stood for.
And she did this all after teaming up with the dodgy child scandal fashion brand Balenciaga during a bizarre trip to Paris.
The outburst, reportedly caught off camera right after the Balenciaga show, left their entire team absolutely stunned. He straight up accused her of turning tragedy into a prop, of using his mother's death as just another headline to chase relevance. Those words, you guys, they cut right through the luxurious air of Paris. Paris like a blade.
If I know that this is a place that my husband hates because it's where he lost his mom, I'm not going to go there.
But here's the kicker. That was only the beginning. Because behind the closed doors of a super swanky 5-star suite, what started as a private argument erupted into something way, way louder. A confrontation so intense, even their inner circle couldn't contain it. And now, insiders are asking the exact same question you and I are. Did Meghan just cross the final unforgivable line between ambition and outright desecration? You're probably thinking, did Meghan know exactly what she was doing by filming near Diana's crash site? Or was it just some terrible coincidence?
Especially when he's on the BBC saying that it's not safe enough for my family in the UK, but it's safe enough for Meghan to be alone in Paris, literally engaging with the paparazzi you say killed your mother?
Drop your thoughts below. We want to hear them. Okay, let's rewind. Paris. Flashbulbs, applause, that electric fashion week buzz. This was supposed to be Meghan Markle's triumphant return, right? A perfectly choreographed comeback after months of quiet. Front row, handpicked by designers, cameras locked on every single angle. For her, the setting was absolutely perfect. Couture, celebrity, total control. For Harry, it was just supposed to be harmless. Another public appearance, just another performance. The world saw polished Meghan, smiling, waving. Perfectly lit by the Paris glow, paparazzi framed her as radiant, redefined, reborn. Every step seemed intentional. Every glance rehearsed. This was the Meghan brand in full, glorious motion. The rebirth of relevance until the video.
Have you ever seen that video?
No.
Pull that video up.
Just seconds of footage, a casual clip posted online like any influencer moment. Her feet up, phone in hand, gliding past the Ponte de Lama tunnel, the exact place where Diana's car crashed that night. Within hours, outrage absolutely exploded across social media. Comment sections turned into total battlegrounds. Disrespectful, staged, unforgivable. For those who remembered Diana's final hours, it felt like desecration disguised as content. But here's the kicker. What made it worse was the silence that followed. No apology, no clarification, not even a denial. Only that same unbothered smile at the very next fashion event. And yet, those close to the couple insists the silence wasn't peace. Oh no, it was strategy. Meghan is doing her own thing, one source said. Harry, go do whatever. I'm doing what I want to do. Behind the designer shades and practice poses, Meghan wasn't ignoring the backlash. She was feeding on it because the louder the outrage grew, the more the cameras turned back toward her. But that's where this story starts to fracture. Because what looked like a careless mistake may not have been a mistake at all. At first, the footage looked like just another influencer reel. Harmless, staged, forgettable. But within hours, online investigators began to dissect every single frame. The car's route wasn't random, guys. It followed the exact same path Diana's did that night, turning left toward the Ponte de Lam underpass. It wasn't coincidence, it was choreography. Every timestamp, every camera angle told a story of precision. A setup meant to spark conversation, and conversation quickly turned into outrage. We'll have more on this.
Well, how about having some thought towards your husband's feelings when you're in the same city his mom died in, running around having a joyride in Paris near where she lost her life?
Fashion commentators. Okay, so commentators called it symbolic, royal reporters called it sick. But what really shattered the illusion was Harry's reaction. For years, he defended Meghan through scandal after scandal. This time, he didn't. He walked out of the event, and according to witnesses, flat out refused to travel with her afterward. Inside sources claim the argument that followed wasn't just about the tunnel. Oh no, it was about intent. Harry accused her of using his mother's death as currency. And get this, she allegedly fired back, saying it's just a location, not your property. That sentence, you guys, changed everything. Hours later, she appeared front row at Balenciaga's show, the very brand still haunted by its own child imagery controversy. For a woman who built her entire image on protecting children, it was hypocrisy in high definition. And when questioned, her only defense was that she was supporting a friend.
How are you protecting children when you were promoting a brand that was accused of inappropriate behavior towards them?
Critics saw it. People saw it differently. To them, it wasn't loyalty. It was selective morality. One insider put it bluntly. Every time her relevance fades, she reaches for something darker. The public thought they'd seen attention-seeking before, but what was coming next would make every past controversy look like a warm-up act, because this wasn't a single misstep. No, this was a strategy, and the cracks were just beginning to show. So if Harry really called her out behind the scenes, do you side with him for finally snapping, or do you think he overreacted?
Let me know in the comments.
Okay, when the noise finally faded, something far more calculated began to surface. Every controversy, every headline, every outburst, they weren't isolated events. They formed a pattern. From Netflix deals to red carpet appearances, every spark of outrage seemed to land right before a new announcement, a new feature, a new photo shoot.
Meghan entered this world like it was a Hollywood set, assuming she could rewrite the script, center herself in every scene, and edit out anything that didn't fit her narrative.
Insiders began calling it, the Bedouin team was calling it the cycle, a chilling rhythm of shock, silence, and then spotlight. And at the absolute center of it always was Meghan. Those close to the Sussex circle say Harry has finally started to see the pattern too. He's realized that every single storm benefits one person way more than the other. His trauma becomes her talking point. His mother's memory becomes her aesthetic. His silence becomes her control. Behind that polished image, the strategy is simple. Turn every criticism into fuel, every backlash into buzz. Even her attendance at Balenciaga wasn't random. Guys, the brand's name still stirs outrage, but outrage equals visibility, and visibility keeps her name in circulation. For Meghan, this formula works. For Harry, it destroys him. Friends describe him now as trapped in a cycle he simply can't defend. Every time he tries to protect her, he loses a piece of himself, and every time he speaks out, he just feeds the narrative she thrives on.
Meghan Markle, Meghan's sister, posted, "Is it true that my sister was doing selfies in the tunnel where Diana died? That's what I'm hearing." Now that would be a really sick example of being a disaster tourist.
This is no longer about a video. This isn't just about a video or a fashion show, you guys. This is about control. Emotional, public, psychological control. It's a strategy built on provocation, wrapped in compassion, and sold as empowerment. And maybe that's the cruelest part, because what started as this fairy tale love story between rebellion and royalty has morphed into something so much colder. A business built on controversy, fueled by pain, and protected by cameras. Coincidence or calculation? That's the question echoing through every room they enter, and it's the one Harry can no longer ignore. Is Meghan truly using controversy as a way to stay relevant, or is she just a victim of media exaggeration? What do you think, guys?
Stephanie Sidley, if driving towards Princess Diana's death scene is a message to Prince William, then Meghan Markle is the devil.
The night sky over Paris glowed gold, but the energy around them had turned absolutely ice cold. For the first time, Meghan wasn't just being photographed as a star. She was being studied like a case. Every blink, every movement, every glance toward Harry became evidence. Cameras caught the smallest things. Her smile fading for half a second as he walked past her without a word, his jaw tightening when her hand reached for his arm and he didn't take it. There was no shouting now, just a chilling distance. And sometimes, silence says more than rage ever could. Online, the atmosphere mirrored that tension. Clips were slowed down, analyzed frame by frame, experts breaking down micro-expressions as if decoding a crime scene. A half smirk became proof of arrogance. A blink became a sign of guilt. Every edit made her look smaller, colder, further from the woman she once pretended to be.
Did you see this moment right here? It was almost as cringe. She thinks something is funny. It clearly isn't. Turns to Marcus Anderson, her gay BFF who's behind all of this, wanting him to join in. He's like, no way. Just turn around. Behave. I've got this gig for you, you stupid woman. Just behave. And then she's furious.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just checking Us Weekly.
Wow.
You know, Harry and Meghan's personal press release service. I want to give you some of the headlines from Us Weekly in the last few hours.
Okay.
Meghan Markle quietly attends Balenciaga's Paris Fashion Week show. Quietly.
Days turned into headlines, and those headlines turned into undeniable distance. The clip might not have been trending anymore, but the damage was permanent. Harry? He practically disappeared from the spotlight, choosing quiet over any more confrontations. Meghan, though, she did the exact opposite. She doubled down. Instead of addressing the backlash, she leaned hard into visibility. Photographed at charity luncheons, stylists buzzing around her, interviews carefully filtered through friendly outlets. The message was crystal clear. She wasn't retreating. She was rewriting. For her, control wasn't about truth. It was about narrative. Find palace walls and PR filters. Advisors whispered of containment, of restructuring optics. But this time, even the most loyal staffers couldn't disguise the fracture. Harry stopped showing up in sync. No joint appearances. No rehearsed smiles. Sources said his silence was strategic. Others said it was pure survival.
It was just a terrible look. She does not look good. It looks like something you would see at a grandma's, like, you know, if she's celebrating her, let's say, 60th wedding anniversary, that's what a grandma would wear.
I think when I was 30, if I thought about 50, I thought that is an awful long way away. And I don't really need to think about it. And then I blinked and I'm 50. That's crazy.
And yet, Meghan's camp spun the opposite story. Anonymous leaks painted her as misunderstood, misquoted, misjudged, the oldest play in the celebrity handbook. Turn victimhood into visibility, right? For weeks, the tabloids became her mirror, and every reflection looked slightly more curated than the last. Meanwhile, Harry was seen alone. Quiet dinners, unguarded moments, shoulders visibly heavier than before. Not angry anymore, just utterly exhausted. Insiders described him as a man realizing that every apology he gives just becomes another headline. She owns. Then came the whispers of a new project, a massive rebranding initiative quietly pitched to studios. Its focus, resilience, motherhood, misunderstood women. And with that, the cycle began again. New sympathy, new spotlight, new silence from Harry. This wasn't recovery. This was repetition by design.
Finally, Meghan Markle turns up at Paris Fashion Week, fancying herself to be kind of budget Angelina Jolie.
Wow.
But without the talent or the tits or the teeth. I mean, I think she fancies herself to be a bit of a catwalk model, more like an aged pussy. Woof. On the prowl.
The scandal didn't end, you guys. It simply evolved, because in their world, silence isn't surrender. It's staging. And sometimes the quiet after the storm isn't peace. It's the sound of someone planning their next move. Every royal story begins with legacy, but this one refuses to end with it. For Harry, legacy was never about gold or grandeur. It was about the unbearable weight of ghosts. His mother's face on every front page, her name whispered in every interview, her tragedy replayed for eternity. Now that same legacy has become the brutal battlefield between grief and spectacle. In quiet moments, Harry still speaks about Diana, not as a symbol, but as a raw, open wound. Friends say he describes her not as the people's princess, but as a woman who wanted peace and never found it. And yet, every time Meghan invokes her name, wears her jewelry, or references her struggles, it's as if that wound is ripped open again. Televised, hashtagged, monetized.
She's walking around Paris like she's the She's got her arms flowing. She's really feeling her oats. Woman, please go back to California and be with your children and go and find a career other than just being desperate for attention every single day.
Observers close to the royal circle say that what began as admiration has chillingly turned into imitation. It's not about honoring the past, it's about controlling the narrative of it. And that's what absolutely tears Harry apart. Because the world still sees Diana's son, not the man he's trying desperately to become. Every headline drags him backward. Every scandal reminds him he's still trapped in a story written long before he could edit it. Meanwhile, Meghan seems untouched, still turning her story into statements, still speaking of empowerment while standing in the ruins of another woman's legacy. It's no longer rebellion, you guys. It's reinvention on repeat. But every performance leaves another scar, not on her image, but on the history she keeps borrowing from. And that's the cruel irony of it all. The very same legacy that made them famous is now the one that may just finish them. Because when you build a brand on borrowed pain, the echo always comes back louder. And this time, that echo sounds a lot like Diana. Harry
and Meghan will likely have their title stripped. I think they should have their title stripped. What is she doing for the monarchy? She's going to fashion shows with this horrible outfit, which looks like a bed sheet. Looks like she's wrapped in toilet paper.
Look, maybe it was an accident. Maybe it wasn't. But one thing is absolutely certain. Nothing around this couple ever happens by chance anymore. For years, the world saw a fairy tale, a prince who escaped the palace, and a woman who promised freedom. Now all that remains is noise. Two people surrounded by flashbulbs, trapped in a story they can't rewrite. Harry looks at the past and sees only loss. Meghan looks at the exact same story and sees opportunity. And between those two utterly different visions, love has quietly, tragically disappeared. The Diana Tunnel moment wasn't just a lapse in judgment. You guys, it was the perfect mirror of their entire reality. Tragedy turned into optics. Grief turned into content. It showed us exactly who they've become. One chasing peace, the other chasing the camera that keeps the chaos alive. And yet the question still lingers in the silence between them. When everything you touch turns into a headline, how do you tell the truth from the performance? Maybe that's why Harry finally snapped. Because behind every lens, every exclusive, every whisper, he sees the one thing he can't protect anymore. The memory of his mother being used as currency in the empire of publicity. So maybe the world doesn't need another photo, another statement, another apology. Maybe it just needs honesty.